Sent to the future from the year 2000 and laid to her own stream because she forgot to eat food. I'm Millennium Cyborg. Welcome to the new millennium. Alright, let's go. What are we doing? We are doing Coverdisc Monday. And I've already tripped myself up by forgetting if I'm doing 0 based or 1 based indexing for these ones. So let's say special for now. All right. Yeah, what a weekend. I had all kinds of PC trouble. I ended up taking apart my machine and then the parts of an old machine, and I was only doing some basic maintenance, but things got worse and worse, and I've now got my whole PC on the desk on a cardboard box. He's carefully arranged outside the case. That's working. My graphics card is being held up by a stack of post-it notes, but I'm not going to touch anything. It is the VTuber Game Jam, the second, organised by Lure Lucky, and the theme this year is Mask. Hey Skeleton, good to see you. Thanks for the follow. There are like 8 hours left, and in my time zone before I have to go to sleep there is, I mean, how about a stream's worth of effort I can put into this? I can do it. I can definitely make a game in, a couple of hours, hopefully. I'm a bit rusty, but all right. Let me take you through the thought process. Where's the slideshow? So, Mask. First thing that came to mind, Mask, the cartoon and toy line about transforming vehicles. How'd you make that into a game? Well, I know a game with a transforming vehicle. It's called Distance. It's pretty cool. And it's kind of not infinite sort of driving game, but kind of an obstacle-based driving game where you're trying to beat a certain time, but not crash into things, and you have to transform between flight mode and driving mode to traverse things. So that was my idea before everything went terribly wrong. In terms of graphics, I'm not going to do 3D stuff. I'm going to do pseudo 3D, outrun style, and hey, Wernie, nice to see you. And what engine am I going to use? Well, I've been trying to solve a problem on Coverdisc Mondays, where I couldn't get these click and play games running in my VM. Oh, thanks for the follow. I actually found a physical copy of this, but it's also on the Internet Archive. Game Maker Magazine, issue 1, October 2003. So we're jumping forward in time a bit, but just for this special episode, includes a complete copy of the Games Factory Pro. And that's what we're going to be using. The Games Factory is one of the successors to Click and Play. The entire succession of programs gets a bit weird because it's Click and Play and then Click and Create and the Games Factory. Then it kind of rejoins at Multimedia Fusion. Then it expands outwards again, and then it finally rejoins at Click Team Fusion 2.5, currently available on the Steam store. Which Lua Lucky mentioned in her slides, but I'm not, I kept using the Games Factory for way, way longer than I should have, because I was kind of scared by the changes in Multimedia Fusion and the way that they started introducing events per object instead of just global ones and all that. I wasn't object oriented yet. So we're using, nope, that's the wrong thing. We're using the VM. It's not showing up because I am bad at things. Okay. What have we got? We've got the Games Factory. And then I need game capture and 86 box. And there it is. All right. I just realized that I didn't copy some files across. Let me show you around though. And let's where's the music? Let's have the background music for now. So the Games Factory was a big improvement on the original Click and Play. Adds some nice quality of life features. You saw that if you watched the demo of Click and Play that we were playing on previous Coverdisc, we didn't have access to the event editor. We do have that now. So this precedes and inspired Game Maker's style as well, of having a grid of events and objects, a matrix, if you will, where you kind of visualize what's happening in each frame. In terms of conditions and reactions to those, will it be playable on a modern OS? Yes, as long as I avoid any of the obscure plugins for the Games Factory, which I do have a collection of, but as long as I stick to the regular Games Factory features, it should open, play and recompile in modern Click Team Fusion 2.5. All right. I need... there was like an extra hour of prep I was going to do, but I forgot to schedule for, making and eating food, so one of them had to slip. I can explain. Okay, oh, well, there's your serial number. That's the one from the disc, so it's on the Internet Archive if you want to have a look. And then... where should we start? So I'm going to be doing a pseudo 3D effect. The Games Factory isn't designed to do I've got 2 copies open, hang on. The Games Factory isn't designed to do that, but there are ways. Let's throw together something basic like title screen. So I love to use the gradients. Let's have a nice blue sky. These colors are a bit... I'm gonna have to get close to the screen. All right, nice blue sky, going down to a kind of earthy color. I need 2 gradients. So if we want what, something like, which way does haze go? How does the atmosphere work? Right. One gradient like this. I immediately see something wrong there. We want game setup, and we want to make it 32-bit. Just a moment. Okay, let's start with the desktop. Yeah, when true color. General setup. Graphics. 16 million colors. Okay. No, we can recreate that. There we go. I spent a lot of time in the software, but did not have much time to practice recently, let's say. But I do remember things quite well, I think. I have one like that, and then another one that's going to be the ground. Or something like that, and maybe we reverse it. Okay, we have to reverse it by editing it. Fine. No quick reverse option. No snap 2, maybe. I can't remember. I remember adjusting things by hand a bit too much. Right, grab this here. So I don't usually manage to keep streaming for more than 2 hours, but I might do what I can here, show off what the software does, and then maybe add another hour of polish afterwards before I collapse. Right, I mean, polish is relative. What font do we want? So I had a dumb idea for this game name because I can't call it mask and use mask sprites for copyright reasons. So it's going to be VTuber. What's the coolest font on this version of Windows? It's probably Impact, isn't it? Impact bold, size 20. No. Size 48. That's period accurate. Then a subtitle. And let me find where I put this in a text file. I can't remember what dumb idea I had. Dumb idea did I have? Oh, there we are. Variable transport units breakneck escape. I don't think I'm going to get to the transforming part, but you know, I can always revisit this concept later. No, that's the serial number. How did I do this? Usually it's on Linux that I have problems with different types of copy and paste not working. Oh, okay, fine. I'll type it with my hands. Variable transport units breakneck escape. And what font is that going to be? I can't even remember what the mask logo looked like. Where was it? It's faster to Google things than to find things on my own. Hard drive, mask, tune. It was yellow, right? Yellow with a black background. We don't have, I don't think, depends on context. We don't have a very modern editor here. And what font are we going to use for this? Let's just use something cool like System. Is that big enough? No. Terminal. Oh, that's going to be terrible. Terminal size 14. I don't like that. Got Verdana. I didn't remember that Verdana was around that early. Fixed this. Regular. I want it. It looks different than it used to because it's really small on my screen now. Arial black. Let's just go back to impact. That'll do. Okay, do this one, edit text, YouTube, and yellow. And we probably don't have anything like drop shadow. We've got strikeout, we've got underline. So what I'll do is copy these, paste, make it everything in black. Do I want it as a drop shadow or as an outline? No. Nope, not that. Right, one at a time. Why? 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 New object text. Are they references to the same thing? New object text. Okay, yeah, good. There we are, and then, okay, let's see. Align, horizontal centers, vertical centers. Take this one and to back, and then this we're going to move. Oh, you know what? I'll do them together. No, they'll have to be different offsets probably. They look good. That looks okay. Align centers, align vertical centers. Topmost, view center. Hello? View center back. And topmost one. Give it a bit of an offset. This is not, you know, advanced design or anything. Can I resize this? And then can we group them? No. All right. That does not look. Looks bad. I don't know. Save that. Games. This is YouTube. That is not the correct spelling. Whatever, that's the official name now. Hey Ren, How old is it? 96. This is the successor to Click and Play, and we're running it inside a Windows 95 VM. Although it, yeah, kind of sort of runs on modern Windows actually, depending on exactly what you do. But this is where I did most of my game development as an amateur, and I'm hoping I'm familiar enough with it that I can do a few useful things now. So what should we do next? Probably do some kind of vehicle movement, right? So let's make a kind of menu thing, just for the hell of it. I don't know, we could either, let's do 2 different levels, just to have 2 different levels. Button. What? No, do you want to? Let's have a. Press space to start. Okay. It's not properly aligned, but that'll do. This is a very oh I'm paying no attention to my spelling right now. A very click and play style intro screen. So okay, and I can show the first of the event editor. So we're going to create a new level. We're gonna copy paste. Paste. There we are. That's menu, or like title screen. This is the game itself. And when we so we're going to go into the event editor. I'm going to say 2 things. One is at the start of the level. So each of these screens is a level in the terms used by the Games Factory. And we are going to play some music. And the music I want is not here. So what I'm going to do is quickly, okay. First I'll finish showing off the actual events. We're going to say keyboard. Upon pressing space, right? So that's our condition. And the action is going to be go to the next level. And we're going to show that it works by editing this level and move this stuff. It's quite a boring level for now. And go back here and start from the beginning. So here's our title screen. We press space. And we're in the level. We can also choose to have a transition actually. That could be a good, nice thing to have. Select fade out. I'm realizing I totally don't remember how these actually are implemented. Like they're all game files. They're presumably editable, but we can give it a fade in transition as well. Oh, and fade out transition. We want that to fade to. Fade to the next level, not just color. So I think that one's slow. Oh, I saw the option. I want it to not fade to the color, but to the actual next level. Go back from the start. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's good. Interesting. Interesting. Not quite what I expected. Probably a slight glitch. When did I last save? Yes, restore it. Okay. File save as. Yes. What's happening? It's no longer in the right color mode. File. General setup. Graphics. 60 million. Okay. Open. Relaunch. Right, okay, here we go. Instead of the fade out of this one, we want to fade in on this one and say from previous level. So I'm going to save. Alright, well that at least looks like what I expected. I'm going to quickly shut down this machine. Shouldn't take long. All I need to do is to mount the VHD virtual disk image in the Windows disk management, and then that'll give me a local drive on my actual host machine. I'm going to copy some files in that I want to use. Let's quickly do that. How's everyone doing? I am. I am not quite panicking because it's not really important. You know, it's fun, but I'm hurrying. All right. So disk management, attach VHD. You can't see this right now, but I'm attaching the VHD for the virtual machine. Now I have a extra drive, and I'm going to go to the desktop. There we are, and media, and I'm going to go to assets folder that I prepared. I'm going to copy those right into media, and that's already done. And I'm going to eject, and I can boot right back into the virtual machine. Yeah, there we are. It looks like the music's a bit loud on, and it's my annoying self-made loop there. I hope no one's too offended by that. Load it a bit there. I was thinking, yeah, I didn't have time to think of what other music I should put on. I had trouble with the Stream Beat stuff before. Like, I used it a couple of times and then it fell off YouTube, and then who knows what. I'm not using desktop audio capture because that's a pain as well. We are now in possession of some new files. And these come from the Games Factory. So the version on that Coverdisc didn't include all of the assets, as far as I could tell from the Games Factory releases of the past. Either that or I've got some old Click and Play ones. But I'm pretty sure these are all, you know, licensed from Click Team for users of Click and Play in the Games Factory. So do these play? I quite like this one. I thought this one maybe for the title screen. Oh, this isn't, I'm sorry, this isn't coming through on stream. Let's see. Right, it's because, yeah, every time it notices that any audio device has become plugged in or unplugged, complete chaos ensues in my OBS settings. So this one for the title screen, I think. And then this one for, I don't know what. Is it too sort of chilled out for in-game? I don't know. Like not quite the right thing. I quite like it. And then we've got this one, another one I liked. I quite like the idea of this one in-game. Right, let's get those into the levels. I'm just trying to see, like, there should be a faster way to get into the event. I thought I would just press this, but no. Start of level. On the title screen, we're playing and looping music, and we're using media, Super Jam, music, racing one. And then the next level, at start of level, play music, and rock on. Save in case of crashes, and then try the game from the beginning. Okay. It's a shame that the music doesn't kick in sooner, but and there we are. Right, it's time to give the player something to control. I've got a few options here. We've got a library of objects from the Games Factory Pro install. because this isn't really the kind of thing that they intended to the software to be used for. There's not an asset of a car from behind. Although it's also a bit hard sometimes to look at some of these and wonder what kind of game they expected someone to make with it. Oh, how about this one? What does that look like? Well, okay. This is the animation editor for sprite objects in the Games Factory, and I think it looks very similar. An object can have a certain number of directions, and each direction can either be a completely independent set of images, or it can be generated by rotating the object in the program. And then you have different pre-baked animations, and then a few that you can rename yourself. And they do have some semantic meaning. So you can tell the program, oh, stop this object, and it'll automatically go into certain animations, or like walking and so on. The most 90s game dev stream I've seen. Well, I mean, yeah, and amateur at that, and totally unpolished. But this is where I lived for so long. So this object doesn't have any baked animation, any baked directions of any interest, but let's have a look what this one looks like. All right. Preferences. Can we set a default direction? I think we must be able to. No. Let's try it. So we've placed an object in the level, and now when we go to the grid, apart from all of these system objects, we've got this one, the buggy. So we can say start of level, direction, select direction, and if you select multiple ones of these directions, it'll pick one at random. And that lets you do something like a game of breakout, where the direction of the ball might go in might be slightly randomized, for instance. So I just started the BGM, but I'm about to launch into the level. That looked a bit goofy, but I think this camera angle could do the trick. What I'm trying to avoid is having to create an entirely new object. So if we create a new object and then say, let's go into here and use, I did download a sprite sheet, but okay, it doesn't even know I have to open. I guess it must have been a PNG that I saved, and that's too new a format for the Games Factory. And it's a sprite sheet, so I would have had to cut it up and things. So what I'm going to do is edit. Why does it start at that weird angle? So when it's facing down, it's not quite straight. It's got a oh, that's cute. Oh, that's really cute. Oh yeah, PNG is science fiction in this world. Moving. Look at that. That's so cute. Getting hit. Okay, well, I think we can work with this. What I'd like to do is I'm gonna save. I'm not sure exactly how this will work in this particular instance. So for instance, I'm going to say I want 32 directions because I want a bit of a, I want to see when it drifts. I want a bit of a turn to it. So we've got already provided this direction, right? Which is well, okay, which is at an angle, but we don't have anything in between. So I'm going to press this button. Don't replace other directions. What happened here? Okay. Okay. So if I say yes, here's what it does. It gives me a very bad nearest neighbor rotation of all of these. What I'll do is, what happens if I do cancel? Did it undo all of those things? Yes. We'll work something out with the existing directions. I need to give get a minimum viable product out anyway. All right, this is going to be a player controlled object. So there's two ways we can implement player control. We can either do it manually. We can go into the events and say, okay, when this button is pressed, then do this to the object. Or we can use one of the built-in movements. So we've got some, I mean, the most basic thing is stopped. We've got a bouncing ball and a path movement. So path movement, you just give it a patrol route. Basically, you say, it's gonna move some predefined way, and that's useful for, say, a shooter where you've got a wave of enemies that's going to move a certain way. Or you've got, hang on, I just saw set direction. There we are. What? I don't know what that does if it's not setting the animation, the initial direction. Okay. We've got player controlled movement types that are sort of pre-implemented. So mouse controlled, we define an area within which you can move, and we move it with the mouse. Race car is probably not quite gonna. Oh, that's kind of terrible in a very adorable way. This isn't the perspective we're going for, right? So it it's intended for a top-down implementation. Oh, maybe we can stop and set direction. No, okay. Platform is just gonna, yeah. Platform is not quite what we're looking for either. And then the other things we have available are 8 directions, which is just up, down, left, right movement. Again, intended for something top down. What we could do though, we could try just having left and right, but what I think will happen is it'll still see it's still trying to turn the car in that direction, which is not what we want. We want to simulate drifting. Okay. So instead of that, we're going to say static, facing forward. Okay. Start the level. Title screen, press space. There we are. Okay. So setting the initial direction didn't affect how it looks here, but at least we don't have that weird jump in the actual level itself. Now, we're going to implement the movement ourselves manually. So we're going to take player one controls, and we're going to say repeat while left. We're going to say buggy movement, no position. Actually, that's a point. We could, I mean, so here I'm manually editing expression. So x is x minus 1, and then repeat while move right, and then yeah, one thing I don't really remember is how To what extent can I copy paste things between these? Okay, there we go. So the action that we've selected is set the x coordinate, and we're reading the x of that same object and adding one. So that's extremely slow. We're going to want to make it faster than that. We're not doing that well for time, but you know, we've done some presentation stuff. Like we've got, should I set a global value for the speed? I can't be bothered. Let's try 10. See how that treats us. So right now it's got no momentum or anything, right? As soon as we press the key, it starts moving linearly. Also, we've not implemented stopping at the edges. So let's see. If this is movement position, getting close to Windows Edge. Oh yeah, by the way, I can show in the animations, show the hotspot and show the action point. So there's two for each of the sprites. There's something called the action point and something called a hotspot defined. I don't remember the exact difference between the two, but they're related to the essentially the origin for purposes of the position, for purposes of rotation, and so on. So that's how that's defined. So if this, we're going to do something simple. If it leaves the player on the left, then position. I'm trying to remember. I'm going to actually say position, compare x position. If it's less than 0, then position set x to 0. And if this position x is greater than edit to retrieve data from special global playfield x coordinate of the right edge. Are there any circumstances where the coordinate of the other, okay, whatever, other side would not be 0? Then set position to that same value, which was playfield right edge. Okay, let's try that. So we should now be restricted. I got one of my conditionals wrong, didn't I? If position is less than 0, then set to 0. If x position is greater than x of left playfield. Huh? What am I missing here? Let's let's edit this to retrieve data from playfield. Right. It said left instead of right. Right, so we can go that far. It's not quite right because as you saw, the hotspot and action point aren't directly in the middle, but for right now, I don't mind too much. Let's save. We've made immense progress here. While the player is moved left, how are we going to do the animation? I'm going to do something fairly naive. So I'm going to say special always. Move that here. So the events each frame execute in the order provided. Always set the direction to forward. However, when we're pressing left, we're going to set the direction to this one, which is it doesn't have the full set, so that's the closest one we've got. And similarly, when we press right, we're going to set the direction to this one. I love and hate how awful that looks. Like if I had time, I would do so much more here. I would render something from scratch in Blender. I would give it more intermediate. I would give it a little bounce. But we're not going to have time to do that sort of thing here. All right. The next thing to do is, I mean, we don't have anything to race on in terms of a path. So what I'm going to do is, I had some all kinds of ideas, but I'm going to do something very straightforward. Let's start with finding some object that looks like it could be, you know, an obstacle. Bring back this music, so I'm going to be browsing for a bit. Sandbags. So these are top down. I'm thinking like a barrel, or as long as it's from the right perspective. Rocks would be an option. I have fond memories of all of these rocks. What else do we have? What do you mean Tetris style? I don't like I do not have fond memories of these. Let's look at some of these backgrounds are slightly traumatizing. That one's better. Hey! Isn't the Tetris Corp like right on the Tetris rights holders quite litigious in pursuing any uses of Tetris that aren't licensed? I guess it was acceptable in the 90s, but no, even then, I have no idea how they got away with this. Games Factory was published by, I don't know who. Click and Play was published by Europress. I don't know what else Europress did. Yeah, no idea. French objects. That's not quite the right thing. Weapons, trucks, backdrops, bushes, rocks, and fire. It's a very exciting burning bush, but a strong perspective. Ah, here we are. Oh, we've got some trees and things. These rocks have a better perspective for what we want. Too big. Put like a cactus on the horizon. No, that's too big. One cactus on the horizon here, and one slightly different cactus on the horizon there. It's realistic, right? That's realism. Oh, and you know what? Now that I'm here, jungle. I quite liked some of these. Quite nice. But we're looking for mountains. These are like full backdrop backdrops, but I want I'm sure maybe I'm thinking of an object that was in click and play rather than the library here. Foliage, game objects, laser, tiles, sky and mountains. Literally, these are tiles. Dark sky and mountains. Sure, let's have some cloudy looking things. That's below. Am I clicking the same one several times? Yes. Composition, also not one of my strong points. What else have we got? It's cool. I don't think I ever made good use of these tiles. I'm getting extremely distracted. I was looking for a mountain or something to put on the horizon. Building? 3D building? Right, these generic game objects. I think these might be some old click and play things. And less well sorted. Interesting. That's clearly for a Bomberman or something type game. Dedicated high score table backdrops. They are cool. Damaged buildings. I have a vivid memory of there being just like a mountain. Counters, yes, speedometer seems good. Let's have that. I don't know if we'll make it do anything useful in terms of game mechanics, but complete floor tiles. Just top down tile. Bridge objects. That stuff. Foliage included these. Alright, that's a mountain. That's a mountain. One of these is a mountain. Perfect. Mountain. And let's use these ones as our kind of roadsides. All right. What we can do is convert this to from a background to an active object. Right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the built-in tools to check animation, movement. I need, so, okay. The idea here is we're going to have these coming down the screen, and to have a false perspective effect, they need to change size. That's not something that's programmatically available, but we can resize one instance of it. Does this actually give us, let's see. Okay, that's how we're going to do it. And then can I copy paste this? How do I select everything? Copy, cut. Okay. Copied, and then edit animations. For the sake of argument, I'm going to here and saying edit, paste. I need food. Hold on. Okay, the idea is we're going to use the 32 directions as storage for, I guess maybe we could also use the animation frames, I wonder. Maybe that doesn't quite work in here, but I know the directions work. So we're going to use the, maybe we'll just do 8 directions for 8 different sizes of the object. And we're going to manually set what the direction is based on its screen Y position, which is going to be its depth effectively. Okay, and in order to have different sizes, what size should it be? This is going to be an intermediate size. Right, perspective sizes scales inversely with depth. So where do we do that? Do we have a uniform? I need to pick what the values are for my eight values of scale. And you know what? I'm not going to think too hard about it. So we're going to have resize. It's going to be 25% by 25%. Okay. Resize this one to 33 by 33. Still very small. $50 by $50. Just double tab. The more consistent way of doing this would actually be to apply the same scaling to one object repeatedly, but so we did 50. So we want 8 directions in total, right? 8 different sizes. So we're gonna have the sort of nominal size it's currently as an intermediate one. We're gonna have 4 smaller than that and 3 larger. So we need one more here. It's gonna be 75. See, this is the sort of thing I would have prepared ahead of time. And then we need larger, right? So we're gonna have, is 200 gonna be the largest? How big does that look on screen? Ugh. $200 by 200. That's pretty large for the sides, right? Let's have 175. I mean, we need 2 more intermediates. Let's call it like 150 and 133. Aggression. That's the wrong thing I'm copying. That looks about right. Okay. And for my sanity, let's order these. And then we're going to copy paste them all into the animations of the main one. How did I do this back in the day when I first started doing this trick? No idea. I don't think I did it like this specifically. We can also note, while we're at it, the coordinates of the hotspot. 5 by 4. And animations, and let's try and do this quickly. So this is the intermediate one. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 smaller ones, and then 3 larger ones. It's 1. 7 by 5. It's 2. 11 by 9. Once again, that, oh no, that did take, that's 3. 17 by 13. There are much better ways to do, you know, to fake 3D in an engine made for 2D these days. Engines I considered for this were Love 2D, which I'd like to get into at some point. Pico 8, which is very cute. I'm worried about the usability. I feel like I might get frustrated with the editors. I say that using this, you know, but I'm comfortable with this. 30 by 23. I'm glad it takes the size when I paste and increases it. What else was I considering? Oh, at one point I thought I was going to do Dark Basic, but that would have taken way too long to prepare. I'm not as familiar with Dark Basic, but I do have like both, you know, like again, same situation. I've got like there's a freeware full version available of Dark Basic Pro, but that also doesn't have all of the assets. But then I've got some demo versions and things on Coverdiscs that do have. No, I've got. I also have an actual version of Dark Basic, and I can't remember where I got that from. On CD, like a proper retail version. 30 by 23. Because Basic is not. It's not a good programming language. The syntax is just good. Did I kind of mess up here somehow? Do the last one first. 46, 36. I've done one of them twice. I think the one I'm missing is 150 or something. This one's 200, right? No, okay. Too many of these now. 175, 175. What? I know what's going on. I'm copying an object that's got directions, and so yeah. This one's an authentic one. So is that one. Let's delete this and this. Okay, then new object, active, resize, and then what did I say? 75, 200. Hey Indigo, how's it going? I'm getting slightly lost in trying to manually make different sizes of a sprite in the games factory so that I can fake a 3D effect. How are we doing here? And what's the value of the center? 46 by 36. Please let this be right. Those two are still the same. Right, this is the real one. Get rid of these. All right. So this is the copy we've made. Edit it, remove extras, and this is going to be our template. And we're going to resize to 175%. That's our maximum. And I want to ensure that I've got 2 more copies. And we are resizing them to 133. And resizing 1 to 150. I think 133 is the one we're actually missing. Edit 30 by 23. No, that's right. The 150. 34 by 27. Right, and now I will programmatically animate that. So we're going to say always this direction set to the number, retrieve data, its own direction, +1. And I'll see if it actually does the modulo for us. All right. So you see, that was a bit of a pain, but that's how we're doing scaling. There's no built-in scaling, so we're using directions as manual animation frames and manually setting it. We want this to go the other way around, and I'm also not sure whether it's starting at the correct value, so let's see. So we're actually going to have to do -1 each time. What I want to know right now is set it to 0, and which one is 0? I think that should be the top, which isn't the smallest. So now I've set myself up for needing to do some modular arithmetic. So 8 directions, starting with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 be the smallest. No, was it counterclockwise? So 2. What? I mean, what does that leave? 4, 6, What's happening? Movement, select movement. Stopped. No direction. Let's do some debugging. So we're going to add a counter. Shows numbers. Okay. I mean, yeah, it doesn't tell me what number is what here. So we're going to say every half a second, edit, set the direction to its current direction -1, and for the counter, set the counter to its current direction, which I'm assuming will be after it's applied that effect from that, but I'm not certain. You know what? There's an easy way to ensure that. Just do it here in a subsequent event. And that way we know that it's already been applied. That's the problem. It's always 32, even though we've got 8 directions configured or filled in. And is it 0 based, or where to go down and up to? It's 0 to 31. And it seems to round to the nearest. Right. There's an interesting quirk of how these event grids work. And so if you start thinking, what happens if you've got several of a certain object? Or what happens if you spawn it programmatically? The grid only has one column for the object. And the answer is, depending on whether you have a condition that depends on an instance of a particular class or object type, it'll either be bound to one individual instance or to all of them. If you're trying to set an action on rock in a condition that doesn't depend on rock, then it'll apply to all of them at once. And just as I say that, I don't know what happens if you try to retrieve. You can also retrieve what is the exposition of one of these in an expression and an effect, and in that case I don't know what the scope is. I don't know how it picks a particular value. It might be whichever one is oldest or newest, or I don't know. How are we doing? I said I'd stream 2 hours, so we have 35 minutes to turn this into a game. Easy peasy. Let's see. Mind blank, head empty. So the idea is every what? How often do we want these? Probably quite often. Every 10th of a second, we're going to use this little fellow, which is create new object. It's hatching. And we're going to create one on the left side, around here. Interesting. Let's start with that. And also, let's do it. We'll do it in the same event. Another one on the horizon spawning over here. Okay. Also, let's have a separate event that happens every frame. That moves these towards us. So Y coordinate is going to be the Y coordinate. I don't know which way it goes, so let's try +1. What if I'm going to crash the game? That's going too fast. That's spawning a lot. No, there's an entity limit. Yeah, I remember that one was very slow. Actually, we want more like 20. And then I'll make sure that I have a new condition that says if this position, if it leaves the play area in any direction, then we delete it. Okay, we could probably have that. And it's a very narrow path, so I'm going to... Not that one. Make it a bit wider. And if I have time, I'll instead of having it spawn in a fixed position, I'll create invisible spawners that will spawn the objects themselves that we can then move around programmatically. Let's rearrange some of these. So the always stuff can move over here. We can actually how do we make a label again? Special group of events. No, I don't want to create a group. It's not here. So where is it? This new condition. All the events. Select a group. Close all groups, open all groups. There's clear evidence of a group feature. Right, let's go through all of these. Special. There's like check for a group of events. Music. Oh, interesting. But that's not relevant. Player and these are all actual things. All the events, filter events. Right click, insert. Okay, insert a group and insert a comment. Always document your code. Insert group. Layer movement. And then another group. And this is going to be bots. So we don't need these anymore. These are rocks. Here we are. Start of level. That's gonna copy. Paste? Question mark. Split this out. Start of level, that's just the music, and this one is all to do with oh, I should save. I've not saved in a while. All right. What are we doing? Always move these and spawn them, and what we're missing is setting their size. For the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to use the Y position. No, I'm going to, yeah, always set the Y position and then new action, movement, direction, select direction. And we're going to take objects, Y coordinate. What did we say? Plus does go downwards. Plus Y goes downwards. What's our baseline? The horizon. The horizon's about halfway down. So it's the Y minus the playfield height. Sure. But I don't like the fact that some of these variables they're like they've got spaces in between them. That's just, I know that it's probably not ambiguous to parse because there's not yeah, it still bothers me on some level. Divided by no, minus playfield height divided by 2. Okay. Divide by the playfield height first. Yeah, that'll do. That'll give me what I want. And this is a value going roughly 0 to 1 as the rock goes down the screen. We now need to translate it to the 0 to 31 direction. Times 31, but not actually, because even if these are floating points, let's see what this does, and what we should see is that it's not quite right. Interesting. Actually, it's not working at all. So what's happening there? We'll do it after the creation of every blah. We are setting the Y position, but the problem is the direction. Movement. Select movement. Bouncing ball speed 0, perhaps. I don't remember. initial direction. This one was the small. This one. Oh, this gives us the numbers. Okay. Increasing anti-clockwise, and 0 is on the right. For the movement, the number of angles. I mean, this is false movement. I'm just thinking it might put it in a better state to receive the. It looks like they spawn tiny, but they immediately become normal sized, so to speak. Mm. 0.0. I'm gonna try my luck here. We do not have floating point numbers. I did more ambitious 3D than this without the floating point numbers back in the day, so there's clearly a way. Make this sort of work. So I'm doing this first. I know that it won't be right. I just need it to be going in the right direction. And then I'll add another offset that gives us... Maybe 32, but that still doesn't explain it. The Y values are going to be between playfield height and playfield height. They're going to start at about half playfield height and go up to playfield height. Right, that's what I'm doing wrong. Yeah. I was going to add a -1 in there somewhere. I was, but we don't have integers, so I need to re-multiply the Y. What do I want? I'm going to start by multiplying the Y by 32. That gives us breathing room, technically speaking. No, we can subtract half the playfield height right here. This is... So that's only a tiny bit better. We've got the Y of the active object. We're subtracting half the playfield height. Then we're multiplying by 32. Finally, we're dividing by the playfield height divided by 2 again, which I don't have a good way of getting an intermediate expression. Excuse me while I open something more sensible as an editor like Visual Studio Code. Paste. I think I just don't have... I do not have copy paste in the VM is the problem. Which makes sense, really. I should have thought of that. But the way that this VM works, there's none of that kind of integration. Okay. They feel like we've got that. Right, this whole expression is one brackets. We need an extra one right here. Excellent. Completely wrong. It's great progress. I could use an intermediate value here. I'm going to use an intermediate value. My own sanity. So each game object has 3 arbitrary values that you can set. I don't remember what spread a number does exactly. It's something to do with multiple instances of the object. So alterable value, we're going to set to this, right? And then I'm going to set the direction to, programmatically speaking, take the object own variable A, and we're going to say variable A, we want the negative of that value. So this gives us a value in the range 32, 31 0 or something, 30, whatever. And then we want to offset it by a quarter turn in one of the directions. I don't remember which one. So let's call this 24. Let's try that first of all, but then we do mod 32. I don't know how mod works in this and how it'll deal with negative value. You know what? We're not that far away. We're not far off. How do we feel about 16? Flawless 3D effects. Absolutely. So I mentioned, you know, like I was the way that it's scaled with distance isn't correct. But is there a quick fix? In fact, there are two things that are wrong. I intentionally skipped over some stuff for time reasons, but what you should be doing is using one of the alterable values to represent the actual z value, the distance. Then using that distance there's an 1 over z relationship between the distance and the scaling and the position, right? So at my brain's gone. However, we're controlling a thing and we're moving it around and there's obstacles. So let's have bad things happen when there's a collision between player and the rocks. So I'm going to create, incidentally, on the start of level, I'm going to destroy the rock that's there at the beginning. So this one is kind of a prototype for the others that we clone later on. If I remove it from the level in the editor, I don't have a way to edit it at all. So there might be a way to add it to library, but I think you still have to drop it into the level for it to work. What are we doing? Explosions. We have explosions. Very dramatic. Nice. Too small. Oh, that's kind of nice. Cartoony. And there's a built-in animation for anyone who saw right from the beginning of the car itself. I'm going to go with this one. So when we tell the editor that this dies, it will first play its death animation automatically. One hopes. And we're going to create the explosion, and we're going to relative to buggy at 0, 0. Extra options. Yeah, okay. And then also the explosion we destroy at the start of the level, and also if the animation is finished or the explosion, we destroy the explosion. I'm going to save. Oh, and you know what? Let's also add a sound effect. There should be a few included with the installation, right? MIDI games, libs, samples, impacts, explode 2. That's all we've got for explosions. Let's see how it sounds. Well, it's a good animation. The sound played very late. I wonder if that's just because it wasn't loaded. Let's try again. Did I put it in the wrong place? Animation is over. Yeah, it should be in the collision. Save. Our counter. You know what? Our counter, add to counter 1. Just be a score. Not very challenging right now, but okay. And when we die, we're going to set a flag on, I don't know, set number of lives to 0 on the start of level, set number of lives. Number of lives is the kind of thing that's built into, you know, the engine makes a lot of assumptions about the kind of games you're going to make. Set number of lives to 1. That'll do for now. And then a new condition. If this animation, all explosions have been destroyed and the player number of lives reaches 0, then new action, next level. And do this and paste it. Yeah. Edit it. And this is going to say game over. How do we edit the one beneath it? Well, what's the best way? To back. Over. Don't know if this is faster than doing the copy paste thing we did last time. And this one to back. Go. Better luck next time. Detect. Press space to restart. But this time, let's make sure that what is this counter? Display as... Instead of that, let's actually add, this has to be a separate thing. It's going to be a score for player 1. I'm remembering this as I go. And let's add a text. Here it's going to say distance. And we'll optimistically leave a lot of space. And then in here, instead, we're going to say always player reaction score, add to score 1. Okay. And then their score is persisted across levels. So we go in here and copy this text, duplicate it. Score, where's my music gone? New text, up we go, edit. Black, okay. View to front. I'm not doing precise alignment this time, I'm just eyeballing it. It's only like, there's not many pixels to worry about here. A new game object, and this is going to be the score for player 1 again. And let's, oh no. Well, I can tell it to generate. Okay, generate me that in yellow, please, in font. Oh, how do numbers look in Korean? You? I don't know why it does a bitmapped font for the score when it can also have text objects. Must be a reason for it. Korean U size, bold size 6. New score object. Do the same trick. It's not an easy way to recolor it this time. Let's say 26, bold, Korean U. Align them roughly. Like that, and then view to back on that one, and place it here. And then in the events, when we do this, we go to jump to level title screen, and the music, we'll use the one we haven't used yet. And loop music, and I think the one we haven't used yet was Astro. Media. And save. I'm basically speedrunning this. My hands are cramping up because I'm clicking around so fast. Alright, let's pull up the desktop audio, mute BGM. So this is our title screen, we've got music, press space to start. Click on the window. Away we go. We're winning. We're winning. Oh no. Okay, that didn't work. Why didn't that work? Let's just quickly check that. Yeah, that one's game over. Over. Launch that. Yeah, that was working. Save. Something in our condition isn't right. Player 1 lives reaches 0. So set number of lives to 1. And collision, you know what? When the animation is stopped. Wonder, should it just be to track that action? Subtract 1. Maybe the event only triggers on subtraction 1. Save. Problem is that the event matches the event of number of lives of player 1, which is 0, only becomes true once. Right? Or at least like it'll trigger on the first time that that condition matches, and then it'll check, has the last explosion been destroyed? It hasn't yet, and then it won't recheck the number of the number of lives of player 1 has reached 0. They don't happen on the same frame is what I'm trying to say. So instead, compare equal to 0. That should work. That should surely work. What? Number of lives 1. Okay, let's debug. New object, number of lives. 1 life. Boom. We still have 1 life. So something happened there. Animation stopped is over. Subtract 1 from score. Oh. I see. Subtract 1 number of lives. I don't even know. Was that error in there before? I do not know. Save, run. 1 life. Boom. And there we go. Okay. Always something silly. We have, I'm gonna say, I gave myself 2 hours. I think we've made a game. It's not a good one, but it's got the skeleton of what I wanted to do in the worst possible way. I wanted a transforming vehicle. I wanted proper pseudo 3D. I can absolutely do those things, but we've got a very cute dead buggy animation. And I think that's what matters at the end of the day. Yeah, I made a game. The aim of the game at the moment is to just not go left or right. I'm very tempted to fix that. We're almost there. And we can show off the path feature as well. Let's use a flag. Oh, that's very annoying. In some positions I can't select it properly. Okay, let's do this, and we're gonna make 2 of them. And I'm actually gonna edit the name. And you know what I'm really happy about is that most of my muscle memory in the games factory is still there, and I barely loaded it up just to make sure things were working, but I didn't make a game to practice beforehand, which again I would have if my PC hadn't exploded all over the place. Flag left. So I'm satisfied with myself. Flag right. Okay, and we are gonna hide these as soon as the game starts. Oh, these are annoying to select. And there was no reason to make them a flag because they're not going to be visible, but we're going to give them movement and Is it tape mouse? Yeah, sure, tape. So I'm going to hold down the left mouse button and kind of go woo, 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 woo. There we go. And then this is going to make for a very bad track, but I'm looking forward to seeing what this looks like. And this one's going to go woo, 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 woo. And what are we doing at the end? We're looping. Reposition at end? I don't know what that means. I don't understand what the behavior would be otherwise. Oh, it might do a linear interpolation between the two ends. Please select the flag. Please select the flag. Edit, loop, reposition. Okay. All right, and now every 10th of a second, the first object we're going to create relative to the left flag. Okay, that's the right flag. Still equivalent. At least I can tell them apart. And the second one we're creating relative to the left flag. I forgot to hide the flags. Oh no! Let's move the flags a bit further apart. In theory, I was gonna have them hidden on level start, but it's good for debugging. Well, I think you're still safe if you stay in the precise middle, which is the problem. Like I said, they're not synchronized, or the movement doesn't make any kind of sense. No guarantee you can survive this. It's not randomized. This is the worst Flappy Bird ever made, and I love it. Save, and let's see if we can make an executable out of this. Desktop, and save. Now run it from the file manager. Here's our game, and basically if we attempt to even move from the center, we die and we get a score. It's a game. It has some features, and it demonstrates some features of the Games Factory that I wanted to show off. And I'm happy I got to play around with this. The other thing is, what's exciting about this to me is this is a solution to the problem we were having of the user generated, like user submitted content in the first two discs we looked at that I've saved. No, there weren't any in the first one because that was the first one. In the previous disc, there were a bunch of user submitted games that we could not play and it crashed when we tried, but now we can open them and run them, the click and play games, in the Games Factory, and that will be for a future episode. And I don't know what to expect, or I don't know whether the games on those CDs are ones that are archived elsewhere. So that'll be something to look out for. There's a website called, what is it? It's called the Click Archive or something. Clicktopia. There might be two, but there's one called Clicktopia that's a big archive of click and play games and subsequent games made in subsequent versions of the software. And some of those do run. I think some click and play and family games might run in Flashpoint, the software we used to run VRML games, if you can call them games, on the VRML stream. Oh, I remember now. Yes, what they do is they're archiving web-based games. So what they do is they support Vitalize, which was the web-based plugin for a certain era of. I think the Games Factory can output to Vitalize, perhaps. 256 colors. This emulated machine has a 3DFX Voodoo 3. It can handle 256 colors. It can handle more than that. And yes, it's lots of fun to dig through these old game creation tools that I used to love a lot, and yeah, you can tell I spent far too long with them. I never produced anything particularly worth playing, as it happens, but other people definitely have, and we shall see some of it in the future. I do not have a plan yet for what I'll do on Friday, depending on what hardware comes in for the racing game stream. Let's bring the BGM back. The racing game stream on Friday, still going ahead. Either more N64 or some PSX games, depending on what hardware I manage to get in and running by then. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. I have been Millennium Cyborg. I never remember my outro, even though I remember my intro perfectly. Where has it gone? There it is. Back to chatting. And, oh yes, I should check if I can raid anyone. We are going to raid Elkari, who is playing I Am Dead, that I've not heard of. So that should be interesting. It's time for me to go. And if you, like me, have caught the Millennium Bug, make sure to watch the next stream, or find me elsewhere on the World Wide Web by clicking on the links below the video. I've been Millennium Cyborg, keep that future vibe, and I'll see you in the world of tomorrow.